On September 18th, Tennessee said on WHO's conference, the pandemic will get worse because countries around the world didn't enact adequate response to the pandemic.
The CCP tried to hold the 1.4 billion Chinese people hostages with the CCP-Virus, but the US House published a resolution that the virus shouldn't be called the China virus. When facing Dr. Yan's report that caught our attention, Shi Zhenli, a scientist siding with the CCP, said the intermediate host of the CCP-Virus hasn't been found. Shi Zhenli tried hard to cover up the truth that it was a biological weapon.
New asymptomatic carriers were discovered in Deyang. BBC reported that US-China confrontation is escalating. Washington's prudent choice to separate the CCP from the Chinese people indicated the CCP shouldn't hijack the 1.4 billion Chinese people. The CCP's media editor Hu Xujing threatened that the CCP could launch wars near its coasts if bullied by the US. He also emphasized the CCP could use nuclear weapons as a deterrence against the US. On the 18th, Canadian Foreign Minister Franco-Philippe Champagne said, trading between Canada and Communist China had reached an end. There is no need to continue. Under stress, the CCP tried to bribe Mongolia, offering 700 million RMB in free loans.
TikTok users followed the suit of TikTok company and its employees to sue the US government. This is the beginning of an unrestricted lawfare backed by the CCP.
Anshan in Guizhou was severely flooded. The people suffered due to the CCP's negligence.
A peasant questioned experts why they call 2020 a year of harvest given the disasters. Isn't 2020 a year of disasters? A strong wind destroyed all our crops of the year. Look at this piece of land. The crops bent over, right? Some experts said the corns could reach 80 to 90% maturity this year. These corns, right? They said the peasants should counter no losses in production. Look, the corns are like this. How can this not affect production? Look, the corn crops haven't formed seeds kernels. Can you call this 80 to 90% mature? Look at the corn cob. Look. Can the peasants have 80 to 90% mature corn, right? This is bullshit. They don't care about us. Installing anything is useless.
At Hongdu in Jiangxi, the unfair forced demolition trampled on private property rights. The people were outraged. Urban management officers robbed a vendor's tricycles. The CCP's urban management thugs even seized mooncakes by violence. The CCP's urban governance, depriving people of motorcycles, plunder the people.
People tell the truth but were arrested for investigation. To silence the people is more harmful than blocking a river. Damn it, these bastards. Don't catch the overloaded, but deal with these useless. Do you know the two policemen when you insult them? The suspect shook his head. You don't know. Have they dealt with you? The suspect shook his head. After you post the insulting video onto the internet, aroused a response from some people. The police worked hard every day to serve people. You posted a video insulting them. I know I did it wrong. A young girl fell to her death. The CCP's surveillance camera failed again when needed.
The CCP defied public opinion and deprived of human rights.
This ring was a gift from my son on my birthday a few years ago. I think of him when I look at the ring. I didn't wear it very much. I wear it every day now. My son Zhong Hanneng died of COVID-19 in February this year. He felt unwell at the end of January, but the hospital accepted him 2 weeks later. I always think of him. He really suffered a lot because of this disease. Family members can't stay with him. As you can imagine, he must be scared. He must be miserable. There is no family around. I don't know how sad he was when he died. Did he call mom and dad? I don't know. We don't know. He died. Our hearts are gone with him. There is nothing left. Our lives are completely disrupted. From then on, there was no happiness for us. He and several family members of those who died from COVID-19 sued the local government, but they were all refused to file a case for them. The authorities put pressure on them. Zhang Hai, a family member of the deceased from COVID-19. My father was killed by them, but I still live in this world. I want justice for my father. My father is my motivation. Because of this COVID-19, many people in Wuhan lost their lives. They know if they file a case for me, there will be countless family members to sue them.
我跟我父亲相比起来的话，我的父亲就是我的动力，知道吗？武汉是因为这个新冠导致了很多人丢掉了宝贵的生命，他们也知道，如果给我立案了，后面会有无数个家属来起诉他们。
Christian Drosten, how much longer do you expect this corona pandemic to go on for still globally?
Well, it's very difficult to make global projections. We have very difficult situations. In countries around here, in Europe, the winter will not be an easy one. We will have vaccines during the next year to come. I guess it will last until end of the next year, until significant parts of the population can be provided a vaccine.
The Trump administration is blocking all U.S. downloads of Chinese-owned apps TikTok and WeChat starting this Sunday. Moments ago, Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross confirming the move to Maria Bartiromo on our sister network Fox Business.
All right, we've got breaking news right now. The Commerce Department is announcing new prohibitions on the Chinese-owned apps TikTok and WeChat. These new rules will prohibit both apps from being sold in the United States app stores, as well as banning money transfers through WeChat in the United States. But walk us through this Commerce Department ruling here. These are separate from the ongoing negotiations between Oracle and TikTok, correct?
Yes, the ongoing negotiations between TikTok and CFIUS, of which Commerce is a part, are separate from these rules. Well, surely what they collect are data on locality, data on what you're streaming toward, what your preferences are, what you're referencing, every bit of behavior that the American side is indulging in becomes available to whoever is watching on the other side. And as you know, China has been taking all kinds of data from all sorts of internet activities, and that's what we're trying to squelch. Remember, it's not doing the same thing. Our rule is not doing the same thing to TikTok as to WeChat. WeChat US, for all practical purposes, will be shut down. As to TikTok, it's just upgrades, maintenance, things like that, that would be shut down at this stage. The real shutdown would come after November 12th in the event that there is not another transaction. So it's very different the way the two are being handled, and that reflects the quantitative and qualitative differences between the two apps.
A year ago, there were a lot of people in Washington who were China apologists. A whole lot of Democrats and even some Republicans, that they looked at China and they just saw a buck to be made. They saw the massive Chinese market. And sadly, we see that with U.S. companies. We see that with Hollywood. We see that with sports leagues where the Chinese market, they want so much that they're willing to do business with torturers and murderers. They're willing to turn a blind eye. They're willing to give the Chinese Communist Party the censor's pen. And I am grateful that people in Washington and across the world are starting to see the threat that the Chinese government poses.
I only went out to do the Bill Maher show in February on one condition, that I could talk about the pandemic, because we were about a week into the show. And his staff is whether you love Maher or hate him, he's got a fabulous staff, and they do a great job. And I get out there, and they dropped a bomb on me. We can't talk about the pandemic. I go, that's why I came out here. I'm not like wanting to get on planes and fly anywhere. And they said, no, you can't do it. It's not enough time. But the producer, particularly the female producer, says, look, I'm obsessed with this. And she goes through, she knew a chapter and verse. I mean, she knew it as well as anybody we had on, any of the experts at the time. She had really done the research. Plus, she says, I listen to the show every day, right? And you guys do the nomenclature, and you do process, and you do critical pass. So she had done her own study. She knew it. But we couldn't get it on. I couldn't even slip it. I think the compromise says, we'll introduce you as the host of War Room Pandemic. But that's even how smart people get these things wrong. It's signal, not the noise. We've been on this, how they're going to steal this election, or as Ernie says, try to steal the election, because they're not going to win for a long time now. And the National Pulse is out in the forefront of this. But here's the thing. It's not conspiracy theory. They're out front in this thing, right? Now, they don't push forward like all the connected dots, which is why I love National Pulse and the National Pulse TV show, kind of what I call the extended hour version of War Room Pandemic. No, but you're like the thing you got on Twitter. This Twitter, and the reason Dr. Yan, and I said last night on Tucker, and I get it today on the John Frederick Show, is illustrative of what we have to understand, is that they pulled down her Twitter account, right? They then stopped the whole Facebook thing. Tucker show's blowing up internationally. They take that down. Raheem goes, these are all never Trump left-wing Democratic operatives that are the fact checkers, because they're now publishers. And who watches The Watchmen? They just say nameless and still down. But they allow the full beatdown of Dr. Yan by all the Wu Mao 50 Cent Army and the Global Times and the entire official apparatus of the Chinese Communist Party. They just leave her exposed out there so she can get completely beat down. This is exactly what they're going to do on the evening of November 3rd. Why is he setting the predicate right now, Facebook? No political ads on the run-up. We've already said that we're not going to call, this on election night. And then they're going to start pulling stuff down and leave you exposed to get a full beatdown, right, where they're putting pressure on the big three. And the pressure is going to come on Fox is going to be not just from the news organizations. They know they got to get Tucker, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity to basically... Shut up. That's what they got to do. This is all coming, folks. This is all coming. The biggest crisis in American history, bigger than any time before the revolution, bigger than Valley Forge, bigger than the crash of the stock market, bigger than the lead up to Antietam, bigger than the third day at Gettysburg.
香港的勇士们啊，你们将迎来一个新的不同的世界。香港人上街不是任何人能代表的，香港人也不能被任何人代表啊。香港人是真正的平民运动，是一个人类上最高尚的，是完全发自于内心的抵抗独裁、流氓邪恶，发起了自主的真正的叫民主运动。任何王八蛋或者组织想代表，那都是混账，都是畜生啊！现在 包括我们爆料革命，我们所做的一切事情，理所当然，我们自愿啊，不图钱，不图名，不图利，也不图感恩啊。但是现在啊，刚刚得知消息啊，美国政府要有行动，特别是现在美国的法律系统啊，已经做出了重大决定，可能我希望会把香港政府的官员成为很快绞刑架上的人，全球猎杀，不是说你什么纽伦堡大审判，直接就把你定义为恐怖组织。原因是什么？战友知道吗？是因为有香港的勇士们和大陆的勇士们，我们的战友们秘密的录像送给了相关部门，经过查实后都是真实的，包括现在关押香港人上万人的地点，强奸、轮奸、埋人，包括警察吸毒、击奸、轮奸的证据。战友们，不是不报，时候没到，上天在看着呢。香港的同胞的血不会白流，香港人的命绝不会白白牺牲。共产党，当你面临和面对全人类有一天公布你在香港的恶的时候，你就知道你那个潘多拉盒子只不过是一个尿罐子而已，而且只能淹死你自己。
The U.S. is approaching 200,000 COVID-19 deaths. Australia records fewest coronavirus cases since June. France logs record daily jump of more than 13,000 new cases. Spain orders a partial lockdown in its capital region. Iran's health official says coronavirus death toll climbs about 24,000. Guatemalan president Alejandro Giammattei has tested positive for COVID-19, as has France's economy minister Bruno Le Maire. Erin O'Toole, the new leader of Canada's main opposition party, has tested positive for the coronavirus. CDC's ensemble forecast now projects there will be up to 218,000 coronavirus deaths in the U.S. by October 10. U.S. extends travel restrictions with Canada and Mexico through October 21st.